In the last devotional I did on temptation, we read that we are tempted when we are lured away and enticed by our own sinful desires. And we saw and talked about how we can choose what to set our minds on, whether to set our minds on sinful desires or on the things of Christ and on the things above. Let's read James chapter 1, verses 14 through 17, kind of remind ourselves of the topic. It says this, James chapter 1, verse 14, "But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death. Do not be deceived, my beloved brothers. Every good and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change." Each one of us can probably quickly understand what desires we have that are enticing and that really lure us, and what desires we can quickly brush off and really they don't affect us very much. But what's interesting is that unfortunately we often play a part in our own deception, and we contribute to sin's enticement. Here's how it works. Let's take, for example, videos on our phones. It can be from any website that plays videos, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, pick your website. I don't know if any of us, when we pick up our phones to start looking through those videos, if we'd say to ourselves, you know what? For the next 60 minutes, I'm just going to completely waste my time. I'm not going to do anything productive. I'm not going to talk with anyone. I'm just going to completely waste my time. We don't say to ourselves, these pictures and the videos are made in such a way that they're going to grab my attention and my mind. They're supposed to capture it and just keep me watching these videos longer. We don't say to ourselves that the algorithm behind the site is specifically engineered so that the next recommendation is going to be even more interesting to me. And I'm just going to get sucked into this, and then for the next 30 to 60 minutes, I'll be watching pointless videos while I have many other important responsibilities and things to do. This is all true, but I don't think we talk to ourselves like that when we pick up our phones. What do we say instead? Instead, we say something like, "I'm so tired today. I just need to relax. Scrolling through these videos will help me rest, and I think I deserve it. I've been pretty productive today, and I'll try to find something beneficial." And in doing this, we deceive and entice ourselves. Yes, these videos may be interesting. Most likely, you will not be able to rest very well because a lot of times we start watching these videos at night when we should be sleeping or spending time with our family or finishing homework. And then what happens is the next day, a person's tired, irritated, and frantically trying to finish a homework assignment or some project for work. The tragedy is that this hour which was wasted, this hour was a gift from God. It was a present from God so that we could serve Him and enjoy Him. Maybe with that hour we could have called a friend and reminded them about God's love. Maybe in that 30 to 60 minutes we could have gone to our neighbor and showed them that God cares for them through some action, through some kindness. And then that hour would have been a blessing to both us and our neighbor, and it would have glorified God. But instead, by deception, that hour was stolen from us and all the potential for good that we could have done. This is only one example. I want to use YouTube as an illustration to show how a person is lured away and enticed by his own evil desire, and how a person deceives himself into sin. We can list many other desires of the flesh. For example, the ones we read in Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 through 21. It says this, "Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and things like this." You can take any of these sinful desires, and the process is the same. First, a person is enticed by sin. They start thinking about it. They start thinking about how pleasing it might be. Then a person is deceived into thinking that the sin is okay. They rationalize some way that they can do it and it will be all right. And then the sin is committed. And if sin is not repented of, it leads to death. So how do we avoid being lured into sin? How do we overcome the deception of sin? The way to overcome the deception of sin is to focus on what is true. The way to overcome the deception of sin is to remember this truth. God is good, and He gives us good things. Look again at James chapter 1. It says this, "Do not be deceived, my beloved brothers. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change." Let us remember that it is God who gives good things. So next time you have a desire for something, ask yourself this question. Is this a desire for something that is from God? Is this a desire for something that is from God? Is this video? Is this activity? Is this relationship that I want? Is this a desire for something that is from God? If it's not, then it's not good, and it needs to be cut off immediately. Any thoughts about the object need to be terminated. If it is from God, then it is a good desire, and we have the freedom to follow it wholeheartedly. Let us focus on the truth of God's goodness and desire His good gifts, and let us eliminate any ideas that try to deceive us.